the segregating states built against God, their criminal governments, and their criminal and filthy agents, who are the shame of all humanity, are individually and collectively weak and will be totally eradicated, dismantled, destroyed, and disarmed in this holy revolution for the most glorious victory of all time. They are weak because they have declared themselves enemies of God by criminally organizing the absurd and artificial segregations of all humanity with lies and have attacked the most fundamental God-given rights of every human being with the dirtiest integrated weapon system of all time. I am one with the God-given rights of 7,500,000,000 human beings. Me, the prophet of God, me, the liberator, me, the answer of God to your sincere prayers. The Holy Revolution is the most glorious victory of all time, the liberating salvation of the Holy Communion between me, the prophet of God, me, the liberator, me, the answer of God to your sincere prayers, and all humanity. This unique truth, this divine rationality, this liberating universality, this infinite goodness of the message of God, initiator, announcer, and accomplisher of the total eradication of the segregating states built against God and their barbarian, criminal, devious, and weak agents. I am the meaning, after the absurd and the obscene, of the crimes of the states that have sunk into the dirtiest and most abject crimes of human history, perpetrated every day against all humanity, to the point of having to declare themselves enemies of the reality in which they are the dirtiest and most abject criminals in human history, in the terminal agony of the administrators of shame. I bring you peace and the holy unity of all humanity after the dirtiest and deadly wars intentionally caused by the states. I bring you the unique truth after the criminal secrets of the state's propagandists trying to hide their atrocious and shameful crimes. I bring you liberty and freedom after the constant oppressions, shameful crimes, slow kill programs, and atrocious human trafficking programs administered by the states. Their criminal governments and their criminal and dirty agents, who are the shame of all humanity, are individually and collectively weak and will be totally eradicated, disarmed, destroyed, and dismantled in this holy revolution for the most glorious victory of all time. They are weak because they declared themselves enemies of God by criminally organizing the absurd and artificial segregations of all humanity with lies and have attacked the most fundamental God-given rights of every human being with the dirtiest integrated weapon system of all time. They are weak because they have declared themselves enemies of God by criminally organizing the absurd and artificial segregations of all humanity in lies to cause wars, material misery, moral misery, disease, and famine intentionally. They are weak because they have declared themselves enemies of God by criminally organizing the absurd and artificial segregations of all humanity in lies and sending hordes of armed barbarian agents to racket, loot, and traffic populations. They are weak because after declaring themselves enemies of God, they sunk into the dirtiest crimes ever perpetrated in human history, in particular with the dirtiest integrated weapon system of all time, until they had to declare themselves enemies of the truth, and then enemies of the reality itself, and this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and everywhere in the world. These criminal governments built against God and their barbarian agents are weak because they are entangled in criminal circles of denial of reality. They are weak because they are entangled in increasingly complex, dirty, and corrupt criminal organizations, and therefore extremely fragile. They are weak because they are miserably clinging to the knowledge stolen from all humanity, against which they are perpetrating more and more vicious, atrocious crimes to develop dirty weapons for hiding the reality in which they are the most cowardly, abject, sneaky, and weak criminals in human history. These criminal governments built against God and their barbarian agents are weak because they live in the moral misery of the dirtiest crimes ever perpetrated in human history by shameful criminal agents who have declared themselves enemies of God, enemies of the truth, and enemies of the reality in which they are the dirtiest, weakest criminals in human history. They are weak because they live at every moment in moral misery, administrating and perpetrating pimping, human trafficking, the dirtiest intrusions, the most shameful torture, the most obscene rackets, the most abject attacks against the human body, the most abject attacks on human dignity, the most shameful material misery intentionally caused, the cultural misery of propaganda and censorship. They are weak because this international tumor of brainwashing and irrationality built against God and human dignity, constituted of their dirty and armed barbaric agents sent against the civilian population, is the result of decades of abject crimes perpetrated in lies with the most atrocious and shameful intentions. These dirty and barbaric agents of the segregating states built against God are weak because they are the obscene, the dirty, the indecency, and the atrocity of the attacks against the intimacy of every human being. They are weak because they are the horror and the cowardice of the torture perpetrated slyly and remotely. They are weak because they are the shame of the rape and the act of barbarism perpetrated by the agents of the states. They are weak because they are the abject betrayal and the ignominy of the administration of the dirtiest crimes ever perpetrated in human history. These dirty and barbaric agents of the segregating states built against God are weak because they are the sneaky and the dirty who daily dig into your privacy and your garbage to weaponize your personal life and your social interactions. These dirty and barbaric agents of the segregating states built against God are weak because they are the ignoble, the obscene, the shame, and the macabre theater of human trafficking, pimping, and the rackets of populations. The Holy Revolution is the eradication and total disarmament of the criminal governments of the states and their dirty agents who declared themselves enemies of God when they attacked the God-given rights of 7,500,000,000 human beings. These sneaky and abject criminals try to hide their crimes with lies, criminal censorship, obscene propaganda, atrocious brainwashing, and the dirtiest integrated military weapon system of all time. Integrated military weapon system means coordinated component of the same weapon, used to intentionally attack human beings with simultaneous collection and weaponization of your personal data. Integrated weapon system means international complicity for perpetrating crimes against the entire world population, and complicity for hiding the crimes of the fake enemies. The dirtiest integrated weapon system of all time that will be absolutely destroyed and dismantled, made of immunity granted to the dirtiest criminals, silent weapons, directed energy weapons, a shameful arsenal of remote weapons, biological wars, medical crimes, dirty and shameful intrusions, weaponization of your personal data, the dirtiest, sneakiest, and weakest coordinated agents, criminal weapon-based brainwashing, shameful and criminal censorship, and the states entangled in the dirtiest crimes ever perpetrated in human history. Their network of satellites have no border. Their dirty remote weapons have no border. Their international complicity for perpetrating and hiding the dirtiest crimes ever perpetrated in human history have no border. The criminal governments of the states and their atrocious, weak, dirty agents are complicit in the dirtiest crimes ever perpetrated in human history. I am the holy unity of all humanity, for the most glorious victory of all time, affirmation of the universality of the divine essence of the human thoughts, and the faith in one God, after the most abject segregations intentionally perpetrated by criminal states against God, causing wars, economical disaster, and famine intentionally, and pretexting each other to enslave you, in particular through the criminal and shameful activities of their secret services and spy agencies. I bring you knowledge and rationality, showing you the unique, divine, rational, and unambiguous path of faith, truth, and your duty in front of God. For the most glorious victory of all time, for the reconquest of your God-given rights, for the universal fulfillment of the divine essence of the human thoughts, for true universal peace, for true universal health and wellness, for freedom, and for communion in the faith in one God of all humanity.